Well, in my current role, I get to see lots of proposals for property projects, and I give it away a bit here. There's the photograph of the newly constructed Glenmore Temple, which opened in October of 1969. But it took some years for them to get there. And here's a proposal that the Corps put together. You'll see that it is dated March 7th, 1961. To the then Chief Secretary, Colonel Cameron. It's a fascinating presentation. It's well written, very well written. It takes the perspective that the Governing Council of Canada West and Canada East is the owner of the land, and that they should invest, and here's how they should invest. They talk about the old building. You'll see there's a paragraph here, what it would cost to remodel. Of course, in those days, 100,000, a lot of money. And it also takes into consideration buying some other property nearby if they're going to do that, and the costs there around. You'll see that it marks the fact that now 75 years, the Corps is in a position to move ahead and to be a place of spiritual nurture and direction for the city. You'll see that there is quite a bit of information here around their financial position, and then assigned by the members of the Corps Council and the Corps Officer of the Day. In the actual brief, which was presented to the Territorial Property Board, some interesting numbers about the city and its growth. The proposal that the city would grow to 350,000 people by 1980. Even they talk about 1960 depression in the West, and yet a lot of building projects going on. On the next page comes some more details in terms of both what's happening in the city and in the Corps itself, the history of it. You'll see that it talks about some of the significant families who've been established here, and makes mention of Bandmaster Creighton, Carol YPSM Lewin, whose name I've seen on all of the historical documents, the Honey Churches, and there we go. Calgary Citadel, the corner of 1st Street and 7th Avenue Southeast, and they want to do some construction there. That's not how it turned out. They ended up the land being expropriated by the city, and then the city tried to back out of it after they had already gone ahead and bought the property for Glenmore Temple, and quite a bit of work done. Major Roy Calvert arrives to sort of pull it all together with Chuck Stevens, who was a significant person in the Corps in those days and in industry. And you'll see some of the money they put aside. There's an interesting comment here that their cartridge giving is about $8,900 per annum. And as they talk, they think they can do better than that. And in the end, of course, signatures, etc. They do take the position that this is a partnership to EHQ, DHQ, and the Corps. Make comments around the sinking or depreciation fund, which no longer exists. Here's it. In 1961, the 3 levels of the Salvation of Authority should work out a plan for the immediate erection of a new Corps building adequate for our spiritual, social, physical needs for a projected 30-year period. So in the 60s, hoping to get into the late 90s. Now, with that comes some other information I've found here from Don. Here is the folder, the official opening and dedication of the Salvation Army Glenmore Temple, which became the home of that group. There's all sorts of great stuff in here. In particular, is a card that talks about the cross that's in the building there, and how the artist, the architect, decided to pick up this idea of martyrdom And the pegs from both the back and front of the cross, they were pegs in the cross. You can sort of see how the artist has tried to depict that. Reminders of the cost of discipleship, suffering, and sacrifice. Success is still measured by that, says the writer of this. So here is the opening. Large photograph, what's going on there. Major Roy Calvert, the Corps Officer of the Day. And along with that, a record crowd. Looks like Christmas Eve packed in there. So just a delight to sort of see some of the history here and some of the faces. You see Ken Rollins was the divisional commander of the day, and the famous piano, which we moved out while we were there. Anyway, fascinating, eh? Lots of great history here.